Welcome to It Happened in Grand Prairie, Texas, as we bring you the history of our city and some of the people that have made history during that time and some that are really busy and into making history this very day. We're very pleased today to have the wonderful veterans from the past Vietnam War. We're giving them an edge because they are giving us an edge with their lives and their history that they have brought to not only to Grand Prairie, Texas, but to all of this United States and probably into the world. We're glad to have them back with us today. And Ray Jean Bush, welcome back, young man.
Thanks, Ruthie.
Yes.
Glad to be here.
Yes, it wasn't very long ago that we had you in another history, but this history tape number 624 is going to document something very exciting, and you brought John with you.
I got John Jenkins with
Yes.
us.
John, welcome, young man.
John is also a member of our Vietnam Veterans of America chapter, and
All right.
he's actually serving as the interim secretary-treasurer of that
Oh,
organization.
he's the secretary-treasurer.
Right.
And do you have a title, or are you just it?
We're going to be holding elections here within the next couple of meetings.
Yes.
And we've got a...
You're just kind of the chair for the time being, right?
Well, right. We've got an interim president and an interim vice president.
Oh, good.
Bill DeLeon is the president, and Roger Nichols is the vice president.
Oh, how wonderful.
So we've got an organization going, and we've done a lot of things since our last meeting, Ruthie. And we're doing, yeah.
That is really great. Well, last year on November the 11th, you came out like gangbusters when we had the Veterans Day, and all of your guys are dressed just like you all are today. And I thought that was a contingency that was second to none at that meeting. All of y'all looked like a troop.
We really looked good, and I don't know how well it'll show up on camera, but I did bring an 8x10
just in case
of that meeting in case you wanted to show it. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that is really good. All right, now tell me a little bit about the organization. What do you have to do to become chartered?
We have to go through the national organization, Vietnam Veterans of America, and there's some things that you have to do. You have to have like 25 members, and you have to submit like $20 a person, John, for each member.
Yeah.
And the members need to submit a DD-214 that actually shows their time of service,
Yes.
dates, and they need to be a veteran in that 64 to 75 time frame, and they don't need to be a Vietnam veteran, either land or on the sea there in Vietnam, but they can be Vietnam veteran era, meaning anywhere active duty in the service between the 64 and 75 time frame.
Oh, that is wonderful. Now, when you came on my show before, that was when you were really looking for people to bring them all together. Did that work?
It worked. Well, it worked, and we got some people. We've got about
51 people right now.
Oh, how
51
great.
veterans, and we've actually got our first female member here that has joined up within the last meeting or so. So we've got 51 veterans, and so we're doing. Last time I was on here, we were looking to maybe get 25.
Yes.
We were just bumping at that 25 level. So.
Yes.
So we've doubled our organization since the last meeting.
But there's always room for more.
Right.
Oh, that is wonderful. Well, I'm going to get back with you in a minute, but let's talk a little bit about John. John, tell me about what you did in the war. Now, I've already interviewed him about his.
All right. I was in the Navy.
You were in the Navy.
I went on a Far East cruise in 66, 67.
Yes.
Was on the USS Ticonderoga, worked the flight deck.
Yeah.
It's an aircraft carrier.
Oh, wow.
And we flew 100 missions a day into North Vietnam. We were off the coast of Vietnam
Yes.
for 11 months. And, well, what I did in the war, I worked hard.
Yes, all right.
That's pretty much what we worked 16-hour days.
And where do you live?
I live here in Grand Prairie. I live on the south side.
On the south side? And have been in Grand Prairie how long?
28 years.
Oh, you're almost a native. You've been here more than 25 years. Isn't that good? We've worked you into the system, haven't we?
Well, pretty much.
Yes, and after you got back from your service, what did you do for a living?
Well, I used the skills that I
Yes.
honed in the service
Yeah.
as a photographer, and continued that in private life, working on photographic equipment for a major company, and carried it into the graphic arts field
Oh,
and
great.
continued that area until we had kind of a recession in 1974, and
Yeah.
that industry just kind of bottomed out. So I moved into X-ray.
X-ray. That's perfect.
It is, and it used some of the photographic knowledge that I had, and continued in that area till today, basically. But
When did you first learn about this Tex 1013?
that's, I see, we, through David Glazner, who I go
Yeah.
to church with,
Yes?
mentioned that, asked if I was a veteran,
Yes.
and said that he had heard about this group that was forming.
Uh-huh.
And I think probably through that Veterans Day meeting,
Good.
and through Bill DeLeon in
Yes.
particular. And then I went through the list of people that I knew were veterans. Among those were Ray, and then he brought some people that he knew were veterans, Sid Willis, for example. And
Well, it didn't take y'all long to bond, because I saw that group out there last November the 11th, and that was outstanding. It really was. And that made you feel good about
That
your
was-
efforts,
I think
didn't
that
it?
was Memorial Day, and
Yes,
not
Memorial
last
Day.
Right, right.
last November. But yeah, we've got a good group, and we've got a group that is growing, and
Yes.
and it's we've got, since our last meeting, we've actually adopted kind of this outfit we've got on here as our uniform. We've got on the khaki slacks and the black shirt, and we've got the Vietnam Veterans of America patch on. So
How many different branches of the service do you find in your group? I've got one from the Navy, and
I think we've got most all
Army,
groups.
Navy, Air Force, Marines.
the Marine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if we've got a Coast Guard
Coast
in
Guard
there.
or
We
not.
don't have a Coast Guard. I
Okay.
don't
When you
think.
get that one, you'll be complete, won't
We'll
you?
pretty well be complete, right?
That's good. Well, how often do y'all meet?
We meet once a month, and it's the first Tuesday of every month, and we meet over at a location over there off of Skyline Road, and so we're meeting over there, and you can actually go to our website and find all the information out, and the website again is VietnamVetsofGP.org.
Oh, great.
And so I think we've had that in the past showing up on the screen, so that might be a way to get there,
Well, do y'all have any magic telephone number other than your website?
No,
If
we
somebody wanted to get in touch with you, just go to that website.
just
That's
go to
it.
the website. We have some contact information
Yes.
that will email us automatically.
Okay.
And we do not have a permanent site that allows us to have a phone at the moment.
Okay. All right.
We have a phone that's registered, but I think it's Bill DeLeon's personal number.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And but as we proceed, since we've only been chartered 2 months,
All right. Now, in your meetings, when you meet, do you have different areas of interest that you're working on, or what's your plan?
We've had a number of we have like a program director, I guess, right now,
Yeah.
and Sid Willis, and he has brought to us some nice people. Representative Kirk England came
Yeah.
and spoke to our organization at one point, and then we had Chris Harris, Senator Chris Harris, a state senator, came and he brought information to us, and then after he spoke with us, we asked him a number of pointed questions, and Kirk was versed on some, but some that he was not versed on, and he
Yeah.
said, "I will find out the information
Oh,
for
yes.
you." And so he brought a whole contingency of people there that gave us all kinds of information. People from the Veterans Commission, Texas Veterans Commission, people from the I guess the federal veterans, and then the Vietnam hospital over here, the
Yes.
Veterans Hospital. Not the Vietnam Hospital,
Yes.
but the Veterans Hospital.
Veterans Hospital.
And so we've had a number of different organizations giving us all kinds of information. We've found out some good information for a lot of us. I mean, example that I found out there was the Hazelwood Act. This is an act that
Yes.
that any Texas veteran, if they were a member if they were a resident of Texas at the time of they went into service, and they serve for 180 days, then they are eligible for free tuition for up to 150 credit hours at any state-supported school.
Oh, how wonderful.
And oh, that's great.
Yes, it is.
And it's not common knowledge.
And it's not common
when you
knowledge.
get out of the service to
And it's not
get that information.
It's not linked any way to the GI Bill. The GI Bill is
It's separate.
federal. It's federal, and so this is totally separate. So you know, I finished up a master's degree last year, and
Now you got a chance to go on up to a doctor.
I've got that chance, you know, and without it really costing me an arm and a leg like it would otherwise. And so I might have to plug into that, Ruthie.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We're going to have to thank Kirk England, His Honor, for that information and bringing you all up to speed. That is really great.
Right.
And it's kind of given us a direction to go with our group.
Yes.
To perhaps make more information available to vets of all ages.
Well, not only that, but you have the relatives of a vet that lost their life in the war. You all can help those families too through your organization, can't you?
Exactly.
And the kind of information that we were receiving, I mean, the ones that are in our organization, I mean, we've passed the information back and forth between ourselves, and that's part of the organization's benefits.
Oh, good.
That we can do that. But you know, we feel like we're pretty versed, and if we don't know something, and we know that there's a lot of veterans out there that are not in touch with other veterans, and they can certainly use our informational skills to get that kind of information to them.
That is really wonderful. Well, are y'all allowed to do anything in the schools, like for the young people?
Well,
Any outreach there?
we've actually
With the ROTC?
we actually in our organization we actually got an invitation to come to a number of the elementary schools on Veterans Day coming up on November 11th.
Yes. Oh, good.
And so have lunch with the children, and I think some of us are going to be taking that up.
Good.
And doing that. Now, Veterans Day falls on a weekday, and many of us veterans are still in the workplace, and so not all of us can get out. So we haven't really geared up to do everything as a group, but a lot of us are going to be doing things individually.
Well, that is great. All right, now I'd just like to know, John, of all of the things that you went through during the war, what was probably the greatest incentive you had to get back here and do something for someone else?
The greatest incentive I had, I think, in working together as an organization to accomplish what we accomplished.
Yes.
Was it just gives you such a dynamic feeling that you want to spread that to other people.
I know that the fact that the Vietnam veterans were not given the honor and the glory that they should have received when they came back, and that has always bothered many Americans, and many of us that cared enough to try to do something to kind of pay back.
Absolutely.
We didn't have the ticker tape parades and things that took place on VE Day, or VD Day. I mean, we didn't have that because the time in Vietnam, the time in that war zone was usually a year at a time for each veteran. So each veteran was coming back and trickling back into society and into a society that didn't necessarily agree with the war and agree with our efforts to help the South Vietnamese against the communist threat.
So I know that it was hard to come back to something like that, but don't you find now that the people have repented to a certain degree, and when they built the wall, and we're going to have a replica of the wall coming back here one of these days, I believe next year, for the 100th birthday of the city of Grand Prairie, Texas.
I think the city of Grand Prairie is an excellent example of the kind of repentance that you're talking about.
Yes.
And especially the air hogs type send-off that we had with one of our units here. That was an excellent example of the kind of patriotism that is exhibited in Grand Prairie today.
Yes.
And I think that a good example of how America feels about its soldiers is to go to DFW to see the returning soldiers on any given day. And
get one of those little cute, I guess, plaques that they have in the little plastic bags for going out there. And to think that you needed something to remember that by, I think that is just wonderful.
And I think that to a man, the Vietnam vets don't want to see the kind of reception that we had coming home happen to any veteran
To
in
anyone
any
else.
war.
Well, I hope that the memorial that's been built there on what we
Oh,
call Conover and Low Street, you know that is Low Street that goes in between the Senior Citizens
that.
Center and the library. That is LOWE, named for the first librarian, Mrs. Lowe.
Okay.
And you don't remember Miss Lowe. You don't go back that far.
Thanks, Ruthie.
And that all of that in one site is just really perfect, and we just hope that it will always be. And you know that the pictures that they had of the deceased Vietnam veterans that were Grand Prairians,
Right.
They have hung in the library, but they've been redoing the library. But we have all of those photographs up at the historical place that is on Houston and West Main Street.
Right.
And those are there. We have documented as many as we know of, so we're counting on you to help us get our history house in order.
We're going to be pushing for something permanent.
Okay.
And that's something on our agenda, and we're just getting our feet on the ground and trying to get our feel into what we need to be doing. And one of the things is, like John mentioned, is to more or less be a sounding board for all the benefits that the veterans are getting,
Yes.
and make sure that all the veterans in our service area are aware of the benefits that are coming to them or should be coming to them.
Well, are y'all going to have any special days of celebration other than Veterans Day, Memorial Day, and the 4th of July, or do you have any others that are on your ticket that we need to know about so we can help beat the drum?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see us come up with maybe September 11th.
September the 11th.
In fact, Ruthie, our charter went into effect on September 11th.
Oh, it did.
Yes.
So we have kind of a sad celebration, but
But it's a worthy
memorial.
one.
I think on see our right here,
Yeah.
September 11th.
Yes, 2008.
Went into effect on that date.
That was good. And I'm so excited about the charter and the fact that you had Senator Harris there and some very important people, and it was on our National Night Out activities here in Grand Prairie, and some of us couldn't come and laud and applaud you on that night because the mayor had already assigned us to 4 different places to go that night.
Well, the agenda was quite full, and we had a full night. I mean,
did.
we missed you certainly, but it was full, and we had a wonderful experience there that night, and it really couldn't have been a whole lot better. I mean, than what it was. I mean, we had a lot of information brought to us, and people speaking up on our behalf, and so it was an excellent deal.
Well, are you documenting any of the families? Are you doing anything historically there? Like all of your Vietnam veterans that are a member of your organization, are you doing anything for families?
Not specifically for families at the moment. What we're doing right now is we're creating a record for each man
Good.
with his experiences, and we'll soon be bringing those to our website
Okay.
so that they'll be available to those interested parties.
That's great.
So it's going to be about a 1-page synopsis of their Vietnam experience.
And I hope you don't mind that we actually put the link to that first taping, that 617 taping, on
Yes.
our website, so
Oh,
that
good.
anybody can go to that. And we'll probably put this taping, 624, on there also, Ruthie.
Oh, that'll be good. And if that helps any, we'll be grateful.
Right.
Okay.
Well, it gives anybody that goes to the website, it gives them the ability to contact us by way of email. It gives some phone numbers, gives our meeting site, and also gives some information on the organization through the links that we have on the TV taping with you, Ruthie.
Okay. I think it ought to be in order right now for you to look out into your camera, and you're on a search. You're on a search for any others that might be interested in working with you all with a group that really wants to bond together for purposes of raising the standards for those that have done such a wonderful service for our country. So would you like to look out and this is you're looking for members?
Well said, Ruthie. We want to extend the membership to our Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 1013, to any veteran out there that served in that time frame, 1964 to 1975. And you can actually get the dates of that service on our website. Our website is vietnamvetsofgp.org, and our organization meets every first Tuesday of every month, and we would love to have you come out. We've got an excellent organization that's available to. It's not limited by any race or gender. So if you're a veteran and you served in the armed forces of our country, we'd love to have you in our organization.
That's right. That is wonderful. In Grand Prairie, Texas.
In Grand Prairie, Texas,
But
right.
now they don't have to necessarily
exactly
live
right.
in Grand Prairie.
That's exactly right. We've got an active chapter, and there are some chapters in Fort Worth and Dallas, and I think another one in Denton. But we're going to be drawing people from Arlington, Irving, Cedar Hill, Duncanville, all around our city. Veterans can come into our organization and be welcomed.
And that way, when they get enough in Cedar Hill or Arlington and get their own chapter,
Absolutely.
you would have given them a real head start.
If they get tired of coming to Grand Prairie, they can certainly do that. That's right.
That's wonderful.
But I hope nobody gets tired of coming to Grand Prairie.
Oh, that is true, because we're such a magic city in that we are approximately 6 miles wide and about almost 29 miles long, including our ETJ. So we go all the way to Venice on the south, and all the way to the north we go to the Rock Island. And isn't that tremendous?
I would never have thought that, 40, 50 years ago, that our city would have extended that far, but here we are.
Mm-hmm. And we are in 4 counties where the mayor and the council and the people that work in the city need to deal with 4 county judges, 4 health departments, 4 constable groups, 4 everything, and it's very difficult when you have that many. And we have approximately 6 active school districts in our geographic boundaries, not boys and girls that live or families that live in that, but it's in their territory. So Grand Prairie is very unique, and I want to thank y'all for pulling together this group that you all have now. We're going to give John the last say. Is that all right?
That's fine with me.
John, is there anything special that you would like to say to the people out there? He's given them an invitation to join, and you have a right to do that. And anything else you want to say?
Well, I think that Ray put it in very good words, that we're open. We have an open invitation to anyone. One comment at our last meeting is that of all the people that have joined our group, we have almost no black people.
Yes.
And we know that they were there fighting alongside us.
Yes.
And we want to make them aware that they're certainly welcome. They're Vietnam veterans just
Yes.
like we are. And by all means, come and join us, brother.
We do consider them our brothers, and there's no limitations on that. Come and be a part of us. You're a part of us in battle. You can be a part of us in our celebration here.
We have the Dalworth Dragons organization that meets annually, and it's very exciting, and we'll pass the word on to some of them. And so if you'll call us, we'll put you in touch with the right honchos in that group that really are movers and shakers, not only in the Dalworth community where they got their start, but they're melded into all of Grand Prairie, Texas, and they're doing us a real great service as wonderful citizens. And well, I want to thank y'all again for being here today.
Thank you, Ruthie.
Y'all are precious.
Thank you.
And you mean a lot to us. And
you to us.
And we're gonna work. Maybe in one of these days we'll have you a wonderful place to meet. Who knows what the future holds? And hopefully one of these days we'll have a place that can be shared by the veterans, where they can have their own meeting place. And wouldn't that be nice?
It would be certainly nice. And if you need somebody to hold your hand and to escort you in any of those efforts that you're going on our behalf,
I got a pledge.
You got a pledge from both of us.
Oh, that's wonderful. And this is Ruthie Jackson reminding you that history is as we live and do, but that we document it correctly. And thank you for watching our show and being with us today for this very special salute. And we know that you're going to be with us on November the 11th at the Veterans Memorial.